Good morning. Good morning. My name is Selina Hlabedi, the farm owner of Kwa-Hlabedi. I'm with my manager here, which is my son. It's Hlabedi. We started the farm here in 2006. I'm going to talk about the production since we are on the production side. We have planted soya on 50 hectares across the road, and where we are next to the maize, this is our yellow maize. The yellow maize we planted on 100 hectares. After the harvesting, part of the of the yellow maize, we sell it at the silos. Other part, we manufacture our own animal feed. The manager is always on board with the staff, trying to educate them doing how to do the animal feed. I will leave it to Kwa-Hlabedi, the manager, to talk more about this maize, what type of cultivar we planted, and what type of chemicals we use. Thank you. Sorry.
It's Tabang here from Kwa-Hlabedi Farming, Hlabedi. I'm the manager, the son. This is my mother, Pinky. Okay, so just as she just said, she mentioned a lot. We have planted yellow maize here. We're on the production side. So now this year where we're standing, yes, it is that 100 hectares worth of yellow maize. But then yet again, she forgot to mention that there's also another 25 hectares worth of soya bean. So now in total soya bean, what we planted this year was 75 hectares plus 125 hectares of maize, which of it's 100 yellow, it's 10 green maize, and then it's 15 hectares white maize. And not just that, we're also doing livestock. So now the livestock that we're doing, it's actually Bonsmara cattle. And as far as it also goes, there's also a little bit of a different breed, only just few. I think it's about 4 that I introduced into it. So now with regards to me trying to experiment and having our own breed that maybe we might even call Kwa-Hlabedi breed, I don't know, as time goes on. But then it's also just trying to develop our own breed as black people, as black youth of South Africa. So all in all, what we're doing is production in general. And yeah, just trying to create employment and also contributing into food security, because it's one thing that we also need right now in our country as we speak. And also just trying to also uplift the economy of the country, because now without it, I mean, come on, we're going to collapse. So we're just trying to put in our effort in each and every single way that we can. So that's our main goal. That's Kwa-Hlabedi. That's where we're headed. We're just trying to make sure that we create as much wealth as we can.
Just an addition on side of the production, we also have the sprout house where we are planting feed for animal. It helps a lot, especially during winter, where we'll be planting barley. We can't plant barley on the ground. It doesn't go well here in Gauteng, but through the sprout house, our animals will manage to get the barley. Thank you. Okay, continuing from the previous camp of the yellow maize, here it's 15 hectares of white maize and the 10 hectares of green maize. Why we planted the same cultivar of white maize in the same camp? It's because you cannot plant the yellow maize where you planted the white maize, because your maize will be contaminated with the color. It won't be suitable and you won't get enough funds from the market when you sell it. So we opted to plant the green maize. The green maize is to build up the cash flow, and we planted the white maize, and the white maize we sell it at the silos to make the maize meal. Thank you.
Yeah, continuing from what she just said, this is the 25 hectares that I was talking about. On the 25 hectares, she already just said it, it's the 10 hectares worth of green maize and then 15 hectares worth of white maize. I think she said a lot. Already she explained why did we do it that way. So it's true to pollination. So when they start to pollinate and everything, then we know that they won't affect another one's type of cultivar and everything. So now in terms of harvesting, right after harvesting, what we do is the white maize, we take it to the silos and then it's going to be processed. I think we all know what happens basically with the white maize. It gets processed for maize meals and feeding and everything. So, but then after harvesting, what we do is with us, we take the residues left behind from the maize, not just the maize only, basically each and every single crop that we plant, even on your soya bean, even on your sunflowers going forward, because that's what we also planning to expand into. So now what we do is after harvest, we take the residues left behind, we also process them for feed, so we can feed our livestock, and then yet we come back and bale the rest of the residues that we can't pick up with our hands. So now what that happens is we also sell them, half of them, for cash flow, so we can assist, so it can assist here at the farm, and then the rest, then it also goes back to our livestock. So now we're trying to minimize all the costs that we can come across in terms of feeding our livestock, and also maximizing the profits also that need to come into the farm. So basically that's what we do. We just take and put back into the ground, take into feeding, and then come back and take it into the account. So it's a rotational type of thing that we also do. And we also do silage. Thank you for reminding me. We also do silage with the rest of the other maize that we don't take to the silos. So yeah.
Okay, now we come to the core business of the farm. Now you'll understand why they call me Queen of Bonsmara. You can see it yourself. I've been called Queen of the Bonsmara because of type of the breed I have in the farm. We are not selling to the public. We are breeding for Cernic. We are also selling to the local auctioneers. We are also contracted to Country Meat Abattoir. With this breed, before we started with the Bonsmara, we had a farm with close to 30 Brahman cattle, which after 4 years, they discovered that they bought a farm untested, with animal untested. All of them, unfortunately, they were positive with brucellosis. Then I was advised by the senior state vet to sell the entire kraal. I'm saying this story so that you should understand today where I am with the Bonsmaras. I generated, I loved those Brahman. I was farming okay with it. I was breeding them very well. Unfortunately, because of the brucellosis, we had to sell the entire kraal. And then we stayed a year resting the farm out of the disease. Then I was picked up by Cernic. I attended 2 years training at Cernic with my son, and he acquired a diploma in cattle management. I also acquired a diploma with other certificates. Lots of stuff that we did around Cernic. Then we had this Bonsmara 30 cattle with a bull from Cernic. Then we are breeding our kraal, and yeah, it's what I can say now with these Bonsmaras, and we are taking care of them. The lot will be said by my son, the manager, who is taking care, who is always recording everything. He's the one who knows the health and the feeding of these animals. Thank you.
Yeah, you've quite said a lot. With regards to these, well, she just explained that how did we actually acquire Bonsmaras. So because at first our core animals was Brahmans, so due to those brucellosis problems, then we had to cull them out. Right after culling them out, rest the farm, and then start afresh. So now we started afresh with Cernic. They assisted with these, it's actually 35 Bonsmara cattle and 1 bull. So but then as time went on, we also put it upon ourselves to also purchase more of them, so we can quickly grow the kraal. So now see, the thing is, one of the main and the core reasons behind the Bonsmara is, now remember that there's different qualities to different types of breeds in terms of meat production. So now do remember that we're also contributing into food security. So now we had to go with what is actually needed and also being in demand into the market, because remember, it's a business at the end of the day, this thing that we need to run. So now hence the reason why we went for this breed, because now it's actually much more viable. It's slightly less expensive to feed compared to other breeds, and also the hardiness into it, and also contributing into it, it's the temperament behind it. It has a very low temperament, so now it's easy for you to work with, it's easy for you to manage, it's easy for you to tag, to do everything that you actually need to do at that point in time when you need to do it. You don't have to, like Brahmans, every time when we needed to do something, we had to be by the kraal as early as 5 a.m. and then we'll get out of the kraal as late as 6 p.m. you know. So, but then with these ones, at least I know that anytime I can get into the crawl and work on them nicely with no problem, and also finish on time doing everything that I need to do. So now it makes it much more easier for you to be able to farm with livestock. Hence one of the reasons like we went for this breed, due to that. Basically it's a lot, man. It's a lot that I can actually say about them. And also their motherly instincts, you know, they do give birth. The fertility into them, it's very high. The hardiness into them, which of they get the blood from the Afrikaner breed, it's also contributing into this. You know, the meat that we get from the Hereford into it, you know, the being polled that we get from the shorthorn coming from them, you know. So it's a lot of different qualities that are actually coming together nicely that can make business sense, more business sense for us, and into the farm area, into the farming vicinity, you know. So hence the reason why we went for the Bonsmaras. And besides that, I mean, let's be honest, they're actually beautiful to look at. Just as long as you have your red ants into your farm, look, you're nice, you're super, you know. So they're very beautiful to look at, and they're very easy to maintain once you get your stuff right. Once you keep your records properly, once your record keeping is on par, then you know what you're doing and where you're going with whatever it is that you're doing. Then you'll see your profitability, then you'll see where you actually need to be headed. You'll see your flaws and you'll see your strengths, you know. So that's the key thing that we're actually working on, and making sure that we emphasize here onto the farm: our record keeping, our breeding season, our technique of breeding, because we have our own technique of breeding, which if I'm not going to tell you, you'll take my style. You'll take my style. So, but besides that, knowing what you're doing and doing it passionately, you know. So hence the reason why we went for them. And look, we're thriving with them. We're working hard, you know. It would be a lie if I can tell you that everything all the time goes smoothly. Not everything all the time goes smoothly, you know. Sometimes you get your hiccups here and there, but then it's part of a business. That's how it's supposed to be. A business was never meant to be perfect, as much as even these cattle, they were never meant to be perfect. So you get hiccups here and there, and then you get your strengths here and there. Then you move on. You learn from your mistakes, you learn from your downfalls, you pick up from them, then you move on. So these are the reasons why we actually decided to go for them. This is actually a sprout house. It's the one my mother was actually talking about. So unfortunately you came at a wrong time. Well, not a wrong time as such. The thing is, we do not use it during summer. The reason is we use it for winter purposes. Because now remember that during winter, the grass on the field, it dries out, it becomes yellow, as we say, and some would say it actually becomes brown, but in true, you know, agricultural terms, it actually burns out. So now we get drought during the winter, so now that grass burns out, and by so doing, so now you have less nutrition onto your field feeding. So now what happens is we use this big boy here during winter. That's when we start to get our green feed. So now what we normally do is we prefer using barley. But it's not just for barley only. You can also use it for grass purposes or whatever fine seed it is that you have. Even maize, if you have the know-how. As time goes on, hopefully I'll be able to show you. So, but what we do is we use these trays. We clean and put our seeds in them, and then we place them nicely here day by day. So now what we do is we try and make sure that we feed every day. So now how we feed every day is we plant every day. So now meaning that on this rack alone as it is, I plant that feed for one day. I will plant it on the first day, and then on the second day I do the second rack, third day going forth, and each and every single rack. And from the 7th maximum to the 10th day, then I'll be able to harvest from my first rack. So now I'm going to harvest my green feed and feed to the cattle outside. On the second day of harvest, it's the second rack. While I do the second rack, basically when I do the first rack right after feeding, I replant on the same day again after feeding. Then I do the same process on the second day, continue with the same process on the third day, fourth day, going forward. So now meaning every day during winter, we plant and we harvest every day of winter until it goes out. So now your cattle, they will constantly, or rather your livestock basically, not just your cattle, will constantly keep on getting green feeds. So now during winter, you don't have to suffer that much. Then you know that you steady have green feeds. So at times what you can do, if there's no job for it, or rather you don't use it during summer as it's sitting, you can also just maybe use it as how can I call it, a sprout house for vegetables. You know, when you plant and when you're making your seedlings. Because now remember, now we have an irrigation system right on the inside, and as you can see right there, there's a fan. That fan, what we do with it is it controls the mist on the inside, because now what we use and target to use mostly here, it's not just water coming out, but then also mist. Hopefully I'll be able to do a demonstration at some point, and then you'll be able to see it. So now the fan will actually control the mist, and then the mist moisturizes actually the seeds that you have on your trays, and then your seeds on your trays will germinate on their own within a certain. Sometimes it depends which seed you have on. Some will germinate within a couple of hours. Some will germinate within a couple of days. But normally from the 7th and the 10th day, that's when you harvest. So you can also do your seedlings in here. And then after they've sprouted within a short period of time, then you can plant on your ground. So basically this bad boy, that's what we use it for. We use it for green feeds, for sprouting. Make sure that we have green feeds all through here, right out.
Okay, lastly, this is part of the accolades I've gathered from Department of Agriculture and ARC since from 2028, which is the Female Entrepreneur Awards 2029, Entrepreneur Female Awards second prize, 2028 it was second prize, and then 2003 it was the first runner-up, the same Female Entrepreneurs Awards. And in ARC, which is Kwa-Hlabedi in 2022, I've won for the province and I've won the overall winner in 2022 of National Kwa-Hlabedi Awards. I would like to thank the visit of the department to Kwa-Hlabedi farm. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Many, many more accolades will come since you came here, and not necessarily from the department, from even other commodity structures I'm dealing with. Thank you.